Hey everyone, Christine here. And today I have something a little bit different to share with you, and I thought I would share it because it's sort of important, I think. So I've got a friend, and I hike with her when we can. It's usually like every 6 weeks or so. And the last time we hiked, she shared with me something really sacred. And I'll go into more about that later. But I had the idea after that hike that I was going to make her a perpetual journal. And this is the type of journal I give to anyone who says, I don't journal, because it is so simple and so easy. And I'm sure you've seen the system before. But essentially, it's cards, each with a date. Now these I printed on the computer, and it went way faster than you might think, and certainly way easier on your hands and wrists than writing it out or stamping even. But yeah, it took just, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes to print them all the whole year. But essentially the idea is that you have one card for each day of the year. And then on that card you can write 2023, had lunch with Christine. 2024, took the dog to the vet. Whatever was the key thing of that day. There are going to be days that are really meaningful and others that are not, except the idea that, 2027 received a card from my cousin. Those things, when you read just that line, will take you back to that moment. So my idea for this was to make her one, and I normally make them a little bit more elaborate and take my time and do some artsy things with them. However, I just found out today that I am hiking with her tomorrow, and it is the last time I'll see her before her birthday. So I thought, well, let me just get this together. I already had the contents, like I had ordered this box, and this is not the sort of box I usually keep it in, but you'll understand why I've chosen this box versus the more decorative tins that I usually use. But anyway, so I just want to share that with you, that this is what I'm doing. And to do this, because now I only have like an hour to do it, what I've done is I've taken some scrapbook paper, and this is from a stack that half of it I'll never use. So I've chosen some that are going to be the dividers, and I feel like these are too thin, so I'm going to fold them in half. And then I printed these out on the back of a piece I know I will never use. And now I'm going to put them together. So it's a really simple process at that point. Let's see, so these are 12 by 12, so I'm just going to fold them. And I will burnish them. And now I need to trim them. If I trim them in half, they'll be 6, which is the size of this card. Normally I'd like them a little bit wider because I just like the cards to be more covered, but it does not matter. So it's 6 will give me 2 because I'm keeping them folded. I'm going to glue on the inside. Oh, I have to go get the glue. Hold on. All right, I decided after some thought that I'm going to use Fabri-Tac, and it's just as easy as anything. So what I'm going to do first is just slice this in half, so that it's 6 inches wide and will fit nicely in the box. Now I need it to be slightly bigger than these 4 by 6 cards, so I'm going to make it like 4 1/4. Hold on. Okay, beautiful. All right, so now I have my these guys, and because I'm kind of pressed for time today, and again, I'm not going to be super fancy, I have designed these to fit, hold on, let me just do this, into this tab cutter. So I can get nice clean tabs. I just have to line it up, sort of center it, and there we have January. And I could take the back, what I'll use for the back, out of any space on this ugly, well, it's not ugly, it's not my thing. So now I'm going to take this, and these, I'm going to glue them together. And glue these on. So do it. Yeah, so and this of course is, I thought I had a whole nother week to do this, and I thought, oh, I'm so ahead of myself. I have all the materials, but you know, and now I'm going to sear this week instead of next. So, oh, of course this glue doesn't want to come out. Let me try another one. Come on, don't make me open a new glue. Oh, you probably are. I think I need a little acetone in these. I'll take care of that. So I'm just putting a little bit of glue in here. It just needs to keep it together. We know that the Fabrifix Fabri-Tac family will do a good job of that. I do try and get near the edges because I like them sealed. All right, so there's one. All right, so now I need to glue these on. And that I will do by putting definitely a little here. That's one side, and I'm going to cover up this ugly side. Again, it's not ugly, it's just not my thing. And then I'm going to decide where I want that to go. Just about there. And I want to put a little bit more on the top because that's where her hands are going to be most. All right. There we have January. And the back is just plain. I could have left the back with that weird stuff on it, but I liked it plain. So now we're going to let this sit for a second. Get it right down to its edge. There we go. And you know me liking things straight. All right, so there's one. Now I could have rounded these corners, and now I'm wondering if I should have just for the effect, but now that I've put this one here, I can't get the corner rounder there. So that means we're not rounding the corners. All right, so January's done, and I'm going to go along and do each one in a similar fashion. So here's another one. I'm going to fold it. Again, I'm being reasonably careful, but not overly. Cut it. Okay, so this one too is 4 1/4, and now I'm going to add February. Oh, I got a little glue on that. I'll get that off. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do more of these. I don't think you need to watch. It's kind of boring. And then I'll come back and we'll assemble and talk about the concept and the very important concept for this gift especially. Okay, so I've decided I do want to round the corners. So I'm going to make a new one for the January that I started. And same method. Get some glue here. I'm simply going to, oh come on, glue, work with me. There we go. Add some glue along the edge, and then a little throughout, and close it up. I think I will use the folded edge as the top because it looks more finished. So now I'm going to take January, and I'm going to do them in order because I want to stagger them. January, February, March, April, May. And I've decided to let the funky design side show because it's kind of fun and different. And then if she wants to flip them around and use them, they're decorative. So now for these, I'm simply going to take January and put it there. Probably could move my glue canister a little closer. Oh, didn't put enough glue on. What am I thinking? It needs to glue all the way. Thought I was just going to do the tabs. There we go. All right, so first I will place January. No, first I will round the edges, like I said. So a slight rounding, the 1/4 inch corner. And now take January, as previously described, and let's stick it right about there, and then take its mate and put it on there. So yeah, this is a super easy way to make these tabbed dividers. Again, in previous ones, I can show you some photos. In previous iterations of this journal, I have used my Cricut and made fancy cutout, super whoop-de-doo designs. But in this case, this will be just perfect. All right, so there's January. And now we'll do February. And you'll see, this over here, that it makes a really nice presentation. Don't need much there in the middle, and I don't want too much glue on my corner cutter. Do this. All right, so the issue I'm faced with here, and it's not my issue, and the reason why I put a little disclaimer in the description of this video is because the reason, oh, I don't want that for February, that's January, it's too close, but I'll cut it now. The reason I'm giving this to my friend, who is an incredible woman and an amazing writer, who I mentioned does not journal. She shared with me, make that February, she shared with me on our last hike that she has made the conscious decision to die when she is 80. I know, it's a tricky one. So I asked her, well, like, even if you're perfectly healthy and, you know, getting along and having a good life, and she said yes. And she feels, which I think is rather courageous, that by the time she's 80, she will have taken up enough space on the planet. She would have enjoyed a wonderful life, and that she would be moving on before extraordinary measures were needed to keep her alive that somebody else paid for, namely the next generation. And, you know, she has 2 daughters in their 20s, in fact, probably in their 30s now. And she understands the hassles and the hardships that they're facing in trying to pay their bills and dealing with the economics of modern days. So anyway, so she told me this, and I'm absolutely fine with it in terms of, I don't feel like it's my business. I feel like everybody should get to choose when they want to go. And I know that doesn't sit right with some people, and that's okay. We all have our own particular views on life and death. And I'm just feeling like it's not my choice for you. I don't want to keep you alive if you are in pain or suffering. That doesn't mean I enjoy the idea of suicide. But if I'm to be honest, my dad committed suicide. And it was a really hard time, and it was awful. And I am unhappy with him for it. I mean, not obviously I'm not unhappy with him. He's not here. But I wished he hadn't. I understood why he did, and I didn't agree with it, but it wasn't my choice. It was not my, look at that. It was not my life. And again, like, I guess we all have our own circumstances. And I feel like certainly in the case of people being chronic pain, you know, or terminally ill, I don't want to be the person who says you must stay alive and suffer. It's just not my thing. You know, and we all have our spaces around death and life. But so anyway, so my friend did tell me that she was doing this, and I know this woman, and she is, when she sets herself up for something, she does it. So I wanted to create a journal for a non-journaler that might give her the opportunity to, as the days go by, and we're very clear on she has 17 years, and her birthday is next month, and I would like to give her the opportunity to note things that she experiences in these next 17 years, because she's living them so mindfully. And while she's an absolutely amazing writer, she just doesn't journal. So this, I feel, is an opportunity for her to take just a minute out of every of the days she has, which are numbered in her mind. And again, she feels very, very confident. Well, actually, she doesn't feel fully confident. She feels like she's doing the work to get there. The idea that she's setting goals for herself to understand her life better, to spend more time in the now, appreciating what's there, and kind of squeezing all the good out of life while she can, and has every intention of doing that while she can. But she feels it's the ethical thing to do is to make space for somebody else and take care of the planet that way. You know, there's only so much the planet can deal with in terms of the people on it. And she's has always been, since I've known her, which is now about 35 years, she's always been an environmentalist. I mean, very concerned with the planet and living gently on it. So anyway, so that's what I'm doing. So you can see here I've created now January, February, March, and I will go along and create the others for all the other months, and then I will be back and I'll show you the finished. But I would love to know some of your comments or your ideas. I mean, I'm open to hearing all sorts of concepts about life and death, and like, I'm super happy to be alive. But you know, I have to be honest, having dealt with some chronic pain in the past couple of months, I don't know how I would survive if that was the rest of my life. Oh, and here's the cat. Hi, baby. So anyway, so this is what I'm doing, and I'm just being honest with you. And again, I know it's not everybody's thing, and some of you won't agree or even appreciate, and that's cool. You know, I think as long as we make space for alternate possibilities, and that not everyone is the same, you know, in terms of spirituality or faith, you know, I've never been graced with faith. I've tried to believe in God in so many ways, and including going to Bible camp as a teenager and searching and reading, and it just won't stick for me. I can't make it make sense. And that's just me. And I respect everybody else's opportunities and privileges or rights to believe, but it just, I can't make it dance in my brain. So this is a lot of information. I think I might make this a members only sort of video, but I would love to hear other people's thoughts. Like, what would you say to this person? I mean, basically, I've told her I will support anything she wants to do, because that's how I feel about everybody. I mean, short of being like a serial killer, but if it's dealing with your own being, your own existence, I would totally support anything you choose that you think is right for your life, as long as it doesn't break laws or hurt others. So that's kind of my thing. It's like, just don't be a jerk. But anyway, so I'd love to know where some of you are on these. And have you had to deal with this? Have you had to talk about these? These are hard conversations to have. I know that. My husband and I have had them all along the past several years. He had a bone marrow transplant in the past few years. In fact, right when COVID started. So we had to have the conversation. And then he alerts me yesterday or the day before
that he thinks, if it's okay with me, that he would like to be buried on our property. Or at least he's considering it. Now, until this moment, it had been always we'd be cremated. But he read an article in which there is a farm in Vermont where you can be buried au natural, in the raw. No casket, just in the ground. And it's a really fascinating concept for me. But so he had read this and he thought, well, that's an idea. Just because it interests him. He's very much a naturalist. He's always with trees and doing tree things and insects and whatnot. And another of his ideas were to donate his body to a cadaver farm for science, because he's very scientific. So anyway, so he had found this out, and he did a little bit more research on it and realized that in Vermont you can be buried on your own property. So he's thinking that's what he wants now. And we talked a little bit about it, and I'm like, I think it's great. And you know, again, if that's what you want, I'm good with that. It'll be a little bit weird for me to have him right here, so to speak, but in another way, it'd be great for me to have him right here. So we'll see what happens with that. Again, it's in the early development, and he still might wind up being cremated and showered somewhere, you know, spread somewhere, sprinkled, I guess is the word. So my mom's wish was to be sprinkled in the Grand Canyon, and that was quite a trick. But we did it, and the first time I ever tossed ashes, I learned quickly they come right back at you. So I had mouthfuls of my mother in me after my sister and I did her ashes. And that was the other thing, is my sister and I went to the Grand Canyon. She had no idea she was going, because it was a surprise for her 40th birthday. So we had done this thing way back before there were GoFundMes. I created a website because I was a web designer at the time, and that allowed her friends to buy particular parts of trips. So people bought dinners for her for one night, or a rent a car, or I mean, all sorts of fun things. Anyways, and she didn't know until we were getting on the plane that she was even going. It was not unusual for her to drive us to the airport. And we traveled a lot, or we did before COVID and my husband's illness, which he's now fine, so it's all good. But so anyway, so we had her drive us to the airport, thinking she was just going to drive our car home for us. And we told her in the parking lot, oh, by the way, you're coming with us. So that was great. It was wonderful. I have a video of it. My husband videoed it. Oops. Oh, well. Oh, no, that's right. So anyway, so she and I flew out to Arizona and spent a few days there, which was great because she'd never seen the Grand Canyon. And if you've not seen the Grand Canyon, go see it if you can. If you're anywhere near Arizona or Utah. The first time I saw it, I absolutely wept because it was so overwhelmingly beautiful. So, you know, it is a thing, and it's not hyperbolic. It is a thing. You need to see it. And you don't even need to hike it. We've hiked it. My husband has hiked it rim to rim. That's not my thing. But you do need to see it. And since you don't even need to hike it to see it, I suggest everybody put it on your list to find the time to see the Grand Canyon. All right, so there you've had all of my story about what this is about. I'm going to go finish this up and stop jabbering, and I'll be back. Okay, there I've got January through December, all done, all different, and then an extra one because I also have some blank cards that I'm adding in case she wants to, you know, doodle, I don't know, or attach photos to them. So then we just go along and we take our hair out of the stack, and I've already printed just the date and the month on each of these. And it was also interesting because so many times on some of these dates I wanted to put, oh, Christine's birthday, or
Jack's anniversary or whatever. And I realized, no, I cannot do that. This is my friend's journal, and none of those things matter unless she says they matter. So let's get it all in here. August, September. Also, I mentioned that I printed these on the printer because it went really quickly. And so I have a spreadsheet that has all the months and the days. If anybody wants it, I'm able to, because I'm kind of techie, I was able to do a mail merge kind of thing so that it created all the pages for me, and it would just print one after the other, so I didn't have to deal with it. So I'd be very willing to give that to anyone who wanted it. All right, so there you can see a really nice fit. Let me go get, where is my blank ones? Here we go. I have these blank ones, and I'll stick those. That's too many because then they won't fit. Because there's this tag back there too, which I sort of want to rip out. All right, so there we have it. So again, the concept is you would take out just the day, and January 1st had cheese fondue. This year, 2023. Next year, it's enjoyed flambe, whatever it is. Took a walk. All the kinds of things that you just do on a regular day. Because the whole idea here is that this is not necessarily a journal where you're going to look at everything in your life and dissect it, but just a way to note and commemorate certain things that go on, and to do it in just a line or two, or maybe a little scribble. Again, this is a woman who writes but does not journal. So whenever anyone tells me they wish they did journal but they don't, this is the journal I give them. And it's a really special thing to be able to look back after, in her case, 17 years, and maybe she'll leave this to her daughters, who understand what she's doing and what her plans are. And while they appreciate and respect her decisions, they don't want to talk about it a lot, and I don't blame them. But I think it's important to have conversations about when we leave and how we want to leave. And I think that's what I'm doing here, is giving my friend the knowledge that I'm there for her, whatever she decides. Now, I certainly hope when she reaches 80 and I'm 80 and we're sitting there drinking bourbons together, that maybe she'll change her mind and hang out more. But I understand why she's doing what she's doing, and it's very personal to her. So I want to support her in that, and not make it more difficult than it has to be for her. So anyway, I know this was really kind of a strange topic, but this journal, regardless of the reason why you're giving it to somebody, the last one I made, I gave to a friend who was moving to a whole new region and wished she journaled, so I made her one that might help initiate the habit of writing down your thoughts or events in your life. So there you go. Thanks for hanging out with me. I spent a lot of time talking to myself, so this was good to kind of get some things out, and hopefully it gave you some ideas for ways that you can use very simple systems like this and very simple materials to make something really meaningful. So there you have it. Go create, be awesome.